And good morning, everyone. Peter Boyle's in for the fellas, and they'll be back on Monday. I gig again tomorrow. It's a Friday, and we got Black Friday going on. People are texting us. It is November 28th, 2025, 60 the high today, and then watch out. The bottom drops out. Snow tomorrow. On Saturday, I'll be here. 17 degrees tomorrow night. 303-696-1971 is our phone number. But the man with a plan, is he standing by? We can throw the switch to the Olson Report. Hey, my boy, there we go.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Don't you love it when they say your name like that?
Oh, man. It's so cool.
Nobody talks to you like
fun.
that. Yeah, I mean,
there was a CBS voice when I worked in Dallas. This guy had the greatest voice. And I heard it one time. I was like, oh, man, that is awesome. We had a sports show. And when I heard it, I was like, wow, that is
they have great,
cool.
Yeah, really great voices. Alan Roach.
Yes.
I don't know if you know Roach or not.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Oh, man, if I had his pipes.
Helps. And you meet guys.
Yeah.
Hi, Peter. Oh, get out of the room. Oh, get out of the room.
Oh, the best. I love guys with pipes, man. And that's what and then when they're really talented, like Mark Holtz back in the day, for me, that was the guy. His pipes were just so good, and he was so good at play-by-play, and he was a former Texas Rangers play-by-play guy after he was the Denver Bears play-by-play guy here in Denver, and he did CU Buff stuff, but he used to drink a little shot of blackberry.
Oh, yeah.
What is that? Blackberry
Brandy.
Yeah. Thank you. And he said, this is what does it for me. It really does.
My mentor, who had great pipes, Bob Lee, he said, I don't like smoking and drinking, but I have to.
I have to. Exactly.
All right,
there's an excuse for people.
No, all right. What was the team and who called the games that you grew up on?
Yeah, no doubt. Bob Martin and the Broncos.
Larry Zimmer.
Larry Zimmer.
Yeah.
Bob and Larry, to me, were great. I mean, that was a great team. And they were broadcasters. They weren't, Larry, it wasn't like he played in the NFL or was a coach or anything, but he was a great color commentator and a great play-by-play guy also. So those were the guys. And then, as I mentioned, Mark Holtz, because Mark Holtz was the voice of the Denver Bears AAA team before the Rockies came here, in case you're too young. And, man, he made it feel like it was Major League Baseball. So those were mine. How about you?
The Pirates had – the voice of the Pirates was a guy named Bob Prince.
Oh, yeah.
A.K.A. the Gunner. And he was –
I love that.
Oh, there's a book about him now that has been written years later about Bob Prince's life.
Wow.
And he lived it.
Man. He did live it.
And I wrote about, as a kid growing up, and the Pirates, for I don't know why, or maybe it was baseball back then, they played day games and they played during the week.
Right.
And
exactly. That's how baseball was.
Yeah. And I worked in a pool room when I was a kid, and came back through some alleys, and people would put their radios in the window. And then they had those screens. I don't know if everybody remembers the screens that you could make them wider and you could make them taller and everything.
Yeah.
And there would be, so you could literally walk home and listen to the game.
Oh,
seriously.
Wow.
I mean, and
so
it was
cool.
Bob Prince and Jim Woods.
And Jim Woods.
Jim Woods was his sidekick. And and he did all those great, people had home run calls, and I think they still do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But and he would do one of those, the home run calls, and baseball was a radio sport, wasn't it?
It was, and you have to paint the picture,
and
you have to fill a lot of time, in between pitches.
Now, is football is football a radio sport? Because I don't think it is.
I think it is only because I grew up listening to so much football on the radio, driving.
Okay.
And I look at things left to right, right to left, chronologically, and that's kind of how football is. And I think it's a great radio sport.
I'm both
myself.
great friends. Of course, Dave Logan and Rick and
Logan's awesome.
Logan, no one's better. But they really do call the game.
No, they do. And then with Dave, there are very few play-by-play guys who have ever played at that level.
That's right.
Coached at a high. I mean, Dave could coach in the NFL. He could have done that a long time ago. He could have done that 40 years ago. Yeah, and he knows football. Oh. So when he's telling you the formation, and he's telling you what the linebacker's doing and what he's looking at, while the quarterback is looking another direction, and what the left guard is doing. I mean, he understands what's happening. So, a lot of play-by-play guys, which it's not their job. Their job is to tell you the names, who threw it, who caught it, who tackled the guy, and what down it is. How much time is on the clock.
Yeah,
and then the analyst, and if the analyst has a personality, he's analyzing what just happened and then giving you color and excitement along the way. Dave's able to do both,
But again, if the history of television and the history of radio, we were talking about the first time that the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade made it to television was 1948.
Yeah,
Dave Garroway was the called the parade. I guess he was.
I was telling my wife that yesterday as she watched the parade. Yeah,
and the parade. Yeah, that's right. The parade was on yesterday, and so
I told her about the zoo and the animals.
Oh, they went and stole animals or something. That was great.
That's awesome.
But football, it took too many cameras. Mm-hmm. And remember,
that's right.
They had to encase the cameras.
Yep.
In concrete. And that's why professional wrestling and roller derby were early television sports, because they were one-camera shoots.
Yes, absolutely. But when you look at I've heard that also. When you look at baseball, and having been in television for numerous years, that takes more cameras than any sport.
Sure,
baseball does. Because you need one behind the catcher, you need one in center field, you need a wide one for every hit.
But they couldn't do it.
And absolutely.
It's too expensive.
Right, absolutely.
And they didn't have the technology.
Yep,
and
no doubt about it.
When that technology for baseball and football hits, it's lights out.
Yeah, sure is.
And the rise of the NFL.
Those guys. Yeah. I love the history of that. I really do.
One more quickie. When Jack Kennedy was murdered, that Sunday, and Pete Rozelle said it was the biggest mistake of his life.
Yeah.
The Redskins played.
Right. Kept on playing.
They played on, Jack Kennedy was murdered, and I think he's maybe lying in state by then. I'm not sure. In the Capitol Rotunda. And Alvin Pete Rozelle played football.
Yeah, that's right.
And what was the family that owned the Redskins? Can't think of his name, but
it's I have that. I'll tell you in an hour.
Okay.
Or I'll tell you in 2 minutes, or I'll tell you in 3 minutes when I look it up. But it's at the tip of my tongue, and I can't. That's horrible.
No, it wasn't the Snyders, but it was the team that.
Yeah.
And then who did they play in that game? Who did they play?
I can't remember who they played,
but they played.
That was a big deal.
People were mad.
Was it the Giants or
I don't know. Adam, take a look. And who did they play on that Sunday? Because Rozelle, I mean it haunted him that he had done that.
My parents actually talked about that when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
a lot.
What's it say, guys? They're all looking. It's pretty obscure, but he said, and the country was so angry.
Oh yeah.
They played the Eagles, okay, and
it was the Eagles, okay. So NFC East game.
Okay, well,
and two. It's kind of ironic that it was Philadelphia and DC playing. Though.
There it is, the axis.
That's kind of interesting.
Who owned the team, Adam? Who owned the Redskins? Okay, can't find it.
Let's see.
But Rozelle, and Rozelle was brilliant. And he made it all work, but made the Super Bowl, right?
Sure.
Yeah. But That was Jack Cook. Bingo.
Jack Cook.
Not.
Thank-
I didn't
yeah.
think that. So
Amen.
they sent listeners. Jason in Denver.
Jack Kent Cook.
Jack
Yeah.
Kent Cook.
That's
Jason
right.
in Denver and a
That's right.
915-50. I'll read your number. Or I won't.
Thank you.
Jack. They both had Jack. Jack Kent Cook.
Jack Kent Cook. Wow.
Who owned the Eagles?
I don't remember.
Because the owners didn't say no. We're not going to play.
Yeah, who did own the Eagles? I don't know. I wasn't a big Eagle fan.
Was it
so.
Jerry Woolman owned the Eagles?
Okay, I think
Again,
I remember his
lost
name.
But when
I knew Fred Gierke was part of the Denver Broncos.
Fred Gierke. I used to sit and talk with him.
Did you?
Wonderful storyteller. He's the guy who put the horns on the Rams helmet.
Yes,
Yes, he did.
Exactly.
And and he played with Bob Waterfield.
Uh-huh.
And Bob Waterfield was married to Jane Russell.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Yes.
And she broke his heart.
Yes, she did.
And when he died,
I remember seeing a film about that.
He told me, he said when he died, she threw the funeral. He told me he went to the funeral. All the ball players came and drank, and they were with Jane Russell. And
wow,
he had wonderful stories.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Great storyteller.
Yeah,
but he played both ways.
Awesome.
He played offense and defense, and he put the horns on the helmet. Wow, and he was a really
cool.
really good guy. And
yeah, he was, man, football guy.
He had been. He said he'd been married too many times. He couldn't quit playing.
Where's he from?
I don't know where he grew up. I know he
from.
played for the Rams, but
he do. Yeah,
he was wonderful story because they mixed Hollywood with the NFL and told stories, and he was
exactly.
Oh, he was multiply married.
See, I thought, and I thought he took that from CSU, the horns, the horns on the helmet.
No,
I think
he put that on the helmet. Like he's in the Hall of Fame for it. I thought.
Yeah, I think so, but I want to say he not stole it, but
lifted
he got the idea, lifted it. It was a good idea from CSU, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong on that one.
Somebody said he played both ways for $5,000 a year. Wow. Huh?
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Those guys had jobs in the off season. Okay,
I'm going to read this to you, too. This said, JFK was going in on buying the Eagles with his brothers before being murdered. No, there's one.
I hadn't heard that one.
No, I haven't heard that one either.
Wow.
John F. Kennedy was going in on buying the Eagles with his brothers before being murdered.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. That's a new one. That is interesting. Man, you talk about an investment, greatest investment ever. Ask Jerry Jones. Wow.
Jerry Land.
That's right. Jerry Land. They're happy in Jerry Land this morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here comes the Olsen Report.
All right. Good morning. It is Friday after Thanksgiving. Hopefully you had a great turkey day. 27 and partly cloudy in Denver. Expecting a high of 60 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
Because they came on a plane along with thousands of other people that shouldn't be here, and you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person.
DJT with reporters on Thursday. The suspect in the shooting of 2 National Guard members on the streets of D.C. is now facing a murder charge. U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro announced the upgraded charge this morning following the death of Sarah Beckstrom. The other guardsman shot in the incident, Andrew Wolf, remains hospitalized in critical condition. The suspect, an Afghan national who worked with the U.S. to fight the Taliban, is still hospitalized as well. Pirro said the guard members were sworn in less than 24 hours before the Wednesday shooting.
And there's a law passed that it's almost impossible not to get them out. You can't get them out once they come in. And they came in, and they were unvetted, they were unchecked, there were many of them, and they came in on big planes, and it was disgraceful. And if you look, you'll see there was a law passed. It makes it almost impossible not to let them in, not to certify them, so to speak, once they come in. And they came in, and they shouldn't have come in. And frankly, the whole thing was a mess. The whole Afghanistan situation was a mess. It should have never taken place. If we're going to go out, and we would have gone out because I had everybody ready to go, we were going to go out with strength and dignity and precision.
And that did not happen, as we know. Today is the official kickoff to the holiday gift buying season. There are already lines at a few locations around Denver. The National Retail Federation estimates a record number of shoppers will do some Christmas shopping between Black Friday and Cyber Monday. 50% say they are buying clothing and accessories. 43% say they plan to go with gift cards, and 32% are shopping for toys. A judge in London has approved the extradition of a Colorado Springs woman. Kimberly Singler faces charges of murder, attempted murder, and child abuse in the U.S.
Singler did not appear in court today, though she was listening online. Her lawyers say she continues to deny the allegations against her, claiming she's not responsible for the deaths of her 2 children, nor is she responsible, she claims, for injuring a 3rd child.
Singler was arrested in London in December of 2023 after police in the Springs found her 9-year-old daughter and 7-year-old dead. Her 11-year-old daughter was injured. Her attorneys argued extradition would violate European human rights protections, but the court rejected those claims. Singler plans an appeal, and it remains unclear when she will be returned to the U.S. She could face life in prison without parole if convicted. DJT says the U.S. could very soon take action against Venezuelan drug traffickers on land. So far, the military operations have focused on drug boats in the Caribbean Sea. 47 says that around 85% of drug traffickers have been stopped by sea, and that soon, quote, we'll be starting to stop them by land, end of quote. Not a big fan of this. If Lindsey Graham is cheering it on, I'm very skeptical. All right, the Spurs at the Nuggets tonight. Avs at the Wild this afternoon at 1:30. They dropped the puck. The Chiefs at the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day yesterday.
I'm going for it. 3rd and goal. Can they convert here? Prescott looking around in trouble. He flips it to Williams for the touchdown at the last moment. Javonte was open and waiting for it.
Wow, 31-28 Dallas. Chiefs are now 6-6. That may be difficult for them in the postseason. They may have to win out. Dallas is 6-5-1. They're playing well. Joe Burrow returns to the Bengals, beat the Ravens 32-14. They are 4-8, and the Ravens are 6-6. The Lions and the Packers 31-24. Green Bay, the Packers 8-3-1. The Lions are 7-5, and we have some big college football games today, including number 3 Texas A&M and number 16 Texas. And I think Arizona and Arizona State play 25th ranked team and the 20th ranked team. But some good games going on today and throughout the weekend for your leftovers. 26 in Thornton, 25 in Centennial, 27 in Denver. Pete is in for Jeff and Bill, and he continues. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Mostly cloudy to partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows, upper 20s to lower 30s. We're going to have a mild day on Friday. A mix of high clouds and sun. Daytime highs will be climbing into the upper 50s to lower 60s. Quite mild. Lows Friday night, low to mid-20s, but winds Friday night shift to the north as a cold front hits. That cold front Friday night will bring a chance of snow showers. Much colder Saturday. Snow showers mainly in the morning, highs only near 30. Teen Saturday night, highs only 20s to low 30s Sunday and Monday with a chance of snow showers. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
And good morning again, everyone. 710 KNUS. This is Denver's talk station. Peter Boyle's in for the fellows. They'll be back Monday. We're back tomorrow on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. This is Friday morning, of course, Black Friday, November 28th, 2025, 303-696-1971 with wide open lines. We'll lead us into it in just a second. Tomorrow on the show, and I finished this book about a month and a half ago, and these folks were waiting for the hardback, and now the hardback is dropped. And when I got the book, and I thought, okay, and it's entitled A Family of Spies. And it's a World War II book, and I'm always drawn to those. But it begins, and this is legit, it's straight up. A letter comes from a screenwriter asking one of our guests tomorrow about a story, Your Family, World War II, and Nazi Spies. And this woman is shocked and she's confused. It's a really great read. And she asks her father, who at that time was 70 years old. His name is Eberhard. Could this be possible? And so he stalls and he deflects and then he starts to cry. And we now know that he knew this day was going to come. And the Kuhns were this Berlin German family, and they saw the rise of the Nazis. And Eberhard's sister, Ruth was her name, meets Nazi leader Joseph Goebbels and becomes Joseph Goebbels' lover. And then they find out that the family is part Jewish. And so Goebbels instead gets them to work for the Japanese. As intricate as this sounds, it's true. And Ruth and her parents, and they're shielding Eberhard, and they pass secrets to the Japanese for money. And then, of course, Pearl Harbor happens, and they all learn the harsh truth about the family and face the decision, and we go from there. And it's interesting because we're talking about some of these same things this morning here on 710 KNUS, but she finds out as an adult woman who the family was. And they actually were sending signals. Her family was sending signals to Japanese submarines inside of Pearl Harbor. And we'll do that tomorrow on the radio show. For whatever this is worth. And the toy run, the 40th annual Children's Hospital Toy Run, is the 7th of December, and we're going to talk a whole lot more about it tomorrow particularly. But the 40th annual Children's Hospital Toy Run, benefiting children's, of course, is on Sunday, December the 7th. And there's been this guy, he's kind of not kind of a stalker, he is a stalker, and he sends these, and I think it should be outed, but so he sends me, during the newscast, I get this, Peter, so no more toys for wetback kids today? More love for anchor babies? Nothing for white babies? To the fellow who sends these, you got a trouble. You got something going on there, pal. 40 years ago, Vinnie Terranova and a handful of outlaw guys took toys to Children's Hospital, and that began the Children's Hospital Toy Run. And we're going to honor Vinnie on the December the 7th, but how many tens of thousands of toys have been brought by these bikers? And I've been part of this now for, I don't know, about 30 years, but my heavens, these email are really, or text messaging, I guess, are really interesting. So what we're talking about, by the way, lines are jammed up. We can start to take calls, but we're talking about, and we promised a Kennedy show, and this really is the best date for us to do it on. And I ask a question about the significance of the Kennedy assassination. We're talking about, the lies that were told. This horrible, the two West Virginia National Guards members that were shot by this Afghan, one of them has died. And what's called unintended consequences. I promise I'll get to the phone in 2 seconds. And this is Cheney, and this is because he was the thinker. Bush was just the ventriloquist dummy, but they lied and created a war, and otherwise there wouldn't have been any Afghans in this country. And of course, when it all folds in the end, and we've talked about that. But they're called unintended consequences of history. Then we're also talking about Nuremberg, where the principles, the so-called Nuremberg principles, if you read any history at all, then you know this set of guidelines for determining war crimes and following orders. And that was the rejection of the idea of saying, well, I was following orders. And the other thing that comes back to this video that comes out and gets dropped down by a couple of these Congress guys, and they talk about don't do this, telling the members of the CIA, which I thought was laughable, don't follow orders. And it was taken up by talk radio, and you'd think that these people would never cracked a history book to talk at all about what happened in Nuremberg, where it all begins. All right, so having said all of those things, we will begin. This is Ralph in Colorado Springs. Ralph, you're on the radio show. Good morning.
Yeah. Peter, the question you're asking really goes back in Germany to 1934, August 2nd. That was when the oath to the Weimar Constitution by the army
it changed.
was changed by General von Reichenau to the oath to the Hitler.
That's right. Well, Hitler wanted it. He demanded the loyalty to be to him. I thought he did.
No, what happened, Reichenau wrote the thing.
Okay.
He presented it to Hitler. Hindenburg died. Mm-hmm. Hitler then ordered everyone to do it, and the German army was ordered to swear the new oath.
That's right.
And the difference between those oaths, I think, is the basis of what we have a problem with. That is the original Weimar oath was to support and defend the Constitution of the Weimar Republic. The Hitler oath was, and I'm going to quote, "I swear by God this holy oath that I will render unconditional obedience to the leader of the German Reich." The question really turns, and this is what Robert Jackson had a problem with, I think, and why he ended up as a Supreme Court judge going to Nuremberg and forcing it, was, do military have an obligation other than unconditional obedience?
Well, I mean, I'd Google and find out, but I thought that Hitler, and that was when that on the daggers it said my blood is my honor. That I thought that's when that came down, and the Fuhrer wanted absolute obedience to him. So when they go to Nuremberg, and I'm kind of a geek about it, I've been in the courtroom, I mentioned it earlier, and it's a lot smaller than I thought. But the defense at Nuremberg, and by the way, I love your call, was the argument that individuals were not responsible for their actions because they were just following orders from a superior. And superior orders or Nuremberg defense was rejected by the tribunal. And the court held that individuals, and I'm paraphrasing all of this, must be accountable for their actions. And the Nazis, the high-ranking officials, they were hung. That was it, with the exception of Speer and one or two others that their lives were not taken. The rest of them. So when I listened to what I listened to in talk radio about, what was Calley's defense? I mentioned Rally for Calley, Lieutenant Calley. What was Calley's defense? Well, I was following orders, and wasn't he lucky? I think his CO was Ernest Medina. Was that his name, Ralph?
Yes, yeah, that's correct.
And then, I mean, this has happened again and again and again. Yoshida, and they put Tojo and Yoshida. They, as I mentioned from my reading, Douglas MacArthur treaded very lightly around the emperor, but they did take the other guys. And I thought Yoshida, and I read Yoshida's case, and I thought Yoshida was the opposite. Could his rank and file say we were following Yoshida's orders, and Yoshida was responsible? And in that trial, I think they held Yoshida, and it was almost like a flip from the opposite side of Nuremberg. But it had to do with politics, did it not?
Absolutely, and that's basically the question. I mean, what you're looking at here, and I will quote John Bolton for God's sake.
Yeah.
In a monarchy or a dictatorship, the Army owes fealty, which is unconditional, absolute, whatever the king, emperor, Tsar, Kaiser says, you do, period. That's it. Okay. In a republic, you have no king. Therefore, what are you loyal to? Well, we've decided, and most republics decide, that they are loyal to a bunch of words. Words, not people.
Come back.
And that's the difference.
Come back full circle. So when this video is made by these members of Congress, what do you do with that video that got all the attention? And I think Vance wanted to, I don't know, but I forget the Vance spin on this, but I thought Vance wanted to hang people or something on the back of that.
Sure, that's what Kings did.
Yeah,
and but the question, Peter, is this, and it's totally ignored. But is a soldier who thinks that there's an unconstitutional order, is his duty to do unconditional, whatever the hell the order says, or to question it?
All right. So who's right or who's
in Vietnam?
I mean, who's right or wrong on this one? Who's right or wrong?
Well, the problem is we haven't adequately trained either the troops or the officers. I went to the Air Force Academy. I had one semester of American history, one semester of American government in high school.
Yeah.
At the academy, I had one semester of American government, a 2-semester course in law, most of which was on the Bill of Rights. So when I hit Vietnam, I had an idea of what was constitutional and what wasn't. Well, all that training is gone. We don't train the troops anymore. So you've got a bunch of people who don't know what the hell is going on, what is constitutional or not, haven't the foggiest idea.
So whose side do you fall down on this? That video that I've seen a couple of times, and I suspect you've seen many times, but it was the group that put this together. You don't have to follow orders. And by the way, aiming it at the CIA, I thought was hilarious. But or the other side, who's right and wrong in your mind, or is there?
There is a right and wrong, and this goes back to my Vietnam days. Bunch of Green Berets and several spooks and the State Department intel people got together and got drunk in a bar in Chiang Mai, Thailand. And we came up with the, how shall I say, the Green Dragon Oath, because that was what the Green Berets had mixed up for us. And the oath is very simple. I pledge allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and to the republic which it created, period. End of sentence, end of paragraph, end of message. Therefore, I think those people are actually right, but the problem is they don't have the troops trained to do what they want them to do, which is not to obey unconditional orders.
I mean, the idea of why they put it out at that time, in that moment, in that place.
Oh, yeah, it's political as hell.
But
no question.
In a greater sense, or a bigger, larger sense, perhaps, are they right?
Yes, in a greater sense, like I say, they are right. Yeah. But the problem that everyone is having, and everybody's running around and getting, you know, how shall I say, like a chicken with a head chopped off, is that we have failed to train the troops or the American people in constitutional law.
But historians would argue and argue about what happened on social media and talk radio. We have settled this. It has been settled. It was settled at Nuremberg. And
that's right.
And if you don't want to read it, and if you just want to go blindly and throw a mic switch without having any background, that's on you. It's not on the principles. The principles are there. And
look, Peter, there's no question about that. Let me give you a quick personal example. I was the director of intelligence at Igloo White, which is a highly classified operation during Vietnam. And I basically had a 2 to 3 month stretch where I was talking directly with Washington, secure phone. And I questioned orders 7 times. Of those 7 orders, 4 were confirmed, 2 were, how shall I say, really changed, and 1 was totally withdrawn. Now, I had training in sort of, before I went to law school, what was constitutional and what wasn't. And this is also the period when we were running around and, well, God knows doing what in Laos with the CIA and also going into
That's
Cambodia.
why I thought aiming this at the CIA was hilarious, but
No, but the thing is, the CIA does think about this stuff. Like I say, with the Green Dragon Oath, you had at least 1, 2, 3 CIA people there.
With love in my heart, Ralph, they must have not thought that much about it, because what they did for Bush and Cheney, I got a minute to the break.
Here.
Yeah.
This is the CIA way back in Vietnam.
They were worse.
Well, they were doing what they were told to do and didn't like it. I'll put it that way. Is that
Look,
okay?
When Bright Shining Lie and all of those books that were written about what they did and the lies they told, and Lansdale and what Lansdale did in Southeast Asia, all of that stuff, it's CIA stuff. But it was worse because now we're back to to JFK and to Lyndon Johnson. Yeah. But they knew what they were doing. Don't kid yourself.
No, of course they did. And that was the question that the 3 CIA agents had there, which was basically, we know what we're doing. We have grave doubts about it. What the are we supposed to do?
Listen, books are replete with it. But regardless, when this video dropped of these Congress people, and I thought, has anybody read anything? And just to wrap it up real quick, I got a break.
Yeah.
Are they in the right, or who's in the right?
I have to say that they are 50.09% in the right.
That close. I'll talk to you. Thanks. 303-696-1971. Our stalker texter back now again about, I attacked the 9 House Fair and the Komen breast cancer. I emceed it. I didn't attack the Komen breast cancer walk. Dude, at least get it straight. At KHOW Radio, we hosted the walk. It was me and Tom Martino and a number of other people, but no, I was never critical of it. All right, back after this, we have one line open, 710 KNUS. Here we go. 710 KNUS. I get the job on a Friday, back here tomorrow on a Saturday. It's going to be partly cloudy and 60 today. Saturday, only to 31, maybe snow, and then 17 on Saturday night, Sunday, 28 degrees. We're in open lines. Let's go to David. David, thank you very much for waiting. You're on the show, and good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pete.
Man.
I think that Jason Crow and Mark Kelly are total embarrassments. You know, let's take the juxtaposition of Colonel Lakin on this whole ordeal. At least he had the stones to throw out there an actual allegation on why he wouldn't perform his duties. But these guys just hide behind the press and don't do a thing. If you could get Colonel Lakin on the radio, that would be a fascinating interview right now.
The question I had, and thanks for the call, the question I have is, are they right? And clearly they did this to be a political tool to hit, or a political club to hit Donald Trump over the head with it. And they don't, there's nothing, they don't specify anything. In other words, when somebody tells you, David, we're going to go gas these Jewish people, then that's a real order. But in this case, it's nebulous. It's wide open. Well, just in case. But in the greater sense, are they right or are they wrong for saying that? And that's the really good question. And it comes down to, at least in my mind, from reading in history, the defense that was used at Nuremberg. And the main defense at Nuremberg was the argument that individuals are not responsible for their actions because they were just following orders from a superior. Now, the rest of these guys who made this video, they don't give any examples. And so having said that, that puts them out on a limb. But bringing it back and asking yourself, really, are they right? And the defense in Nuremberg was that the Nazi defendants, including high-ranking officials, argued that their actions were, I think, not their own, but they were a result of being ordered to do them by Hitler. And they claimed they were trained to obey without question. And it was called the IMT, I think, the International Military Tribunal, rejected it. And the outcome is, of course, they were hung. So it's a really good question.
In my opinion, I don't think they're looking for a right, looking to create chaos, because everybody knows that you shouldn't obey an illegal order. That's like just saying, hey, you shouldn't kill anybody. It's the same thing.
But
they just don't have the nuts to stand behind.
Well,
what are the illegal orders that Trump is giving? They're insinuating.
Thank you. And I agree with that part of your critique, is that there's no example. They don't give any raw meat to their video. It's just, I'll just say it and put it out there. And you're right. You're absolutely right, by the way. But there's more to this than just saying that. And I wish they would have, or perhaps not even done this, or at least put some teeth in it, and said, okay, and this is the example. I think they're talking about, and maybe you differ, but I think they're talking about the dope boats. I think they're talking about inside the cities. I think that's the kind of stuff that they're aimed at, and they're ridiculous about that. So, but it's a great question, and I think that I don't know if these are the right guys to ask it, but so be it. But it's a great question.
Yeah, these guys that are asking it are total lightweights.
Well, I don't think Jason Crow's a lightweight. I don't think these guys are fools. But when they say when you don't follow lawful orders, and then when Vance got his hands on it, and they were talking about what, hanging people or something. I'm going, no, just quit. Everybody just go sit down. You're not doing it. Yeah.
Why I say they're lightweights is because they won't have do an interview with you or Kaplan or Jason Crow won't and have a real conversation.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I get to do, I get to do 4 hours a week doing talk radio, but I'd love it for one of those guys to come in and say, let me explain what I meant by or said by that video. But that's not what happened. And now we have these 2 West Virginia National Guards kids that are killed by this Afghan. And now there's a better question. He was in this country, and somebody asked me to explain this, unintended consequences. And Bush and Cheney are the reason that Afghan's here. And you think George Bush down in Crawford, Texas, right now, thinks that he's got a hunk of this murder? Because I think he doesn't. But he does. What they did.
Oh, yeah. He's sleeping like a baby until Judgment Day, like Dick Cheney just found out.
Well, Dick Cheney, isn't it interesting also? And I wrote this column that the Dick Cheney dies on the day that a Ugandan-born Muslim becomes the mayor of New York, socialist. Think of the connect. Isn't that interesting?
Very much so.
Wow. Thank you for coming on the show. Thanks, David. Thanks.
Thanks, Pete.
You're welcome, brother. All right, we go to Gary. You're on the radio show. Good morning, and thank you.
Good morning, Peter.
Hey, man.
Hey, Peter, I've been listening a long time. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
And I've been taking up your deal on reading, right? And I got this book it's the titled The Scholastic Encyclopedia of the Civil War.
Huh.
And it speaks to how the South was upset with the North with wanting to with manufacturing and transportation.
Yeah.
And right?
Yes, it
okay.
was an industrial North and agrarian South.
Yes. And then the tariffs, they're upset with the tariffs.
Yes.
Like going on with today, right?
Yes.
And then President Rutherford B. Hayes.
Yes.
He made a big mistake, I think, that lasted 100 years to 1965 with taking the troops out of the South, the federal troops, because the South people weren't following federal law, right?
Well, when they break away and they form the Confederacy, then they follow their own set of laws, correct, with Jeff Davis. So
yes, President Jefferson Davis with his plantation. But and then they tried to overthrow our country, right? Yeah. And we fought against that.
They wanted to leave, and Mr. Lincoln wanted to keep the country together. That's right. And and that's why they call it Northern aggression. You know, and when you're not looking, that's what they call it. They call it Northern aggression. But remember, they just wanted to be left alone with their own country, and Mr. Lincoln said no. But they had already fired on Fort Sumter, even before Mr. Lincoln was sworn in. No, I'm glad, man. I'm really glad you're reading stuff like that. That's good.
Yeah, but it's similar, very similar to what's going on today. And he let them. He took the troops out of the South, and look at what we've gotten.
Why don't you hang on?
Since then,
let me. You want to hang on go through a break here and come back with me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. We'll put them on hold. Bring them back. All right. 303-696-1971 lines are open. We have one line open. We have the Olson Report coming. And back here tomorrow at 9. And the book we're going to do tomorrow is Family of Spies. Stay here, 710 KNUS.